All right, here we are, wrestling fans. This is the Southeastern Regional Preview Show. I got Big Nate here right now with myself. We're waiting on Joe Youngblood traveling somewhere to somewhere else to get on camera here. So he'll join us in the middle of the show, hopefully sooner than later. Just want to talk a little bit about this Southeastern region coming in three different sections from District 1. We have the North, the South, and the Central. Six guys coming from each 18-man bracket. We're going to get after it Friday night with those, pigtails, if you will. Those guys then will be eliminated. We'll get into the prelims and then that quarterfinal round on Friday night. It's going to be exciting quarterfinals. Nate, I know we're going to talk a little bit about some of those matches. And then, of course, on Saturday, we come back in with a grueling wrestle back. Those consolations will be where a lot of place winners come from that get out to Hershey. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But the semifinals will be Saturday afternoon with our Hall of Fame ceremony starting around 5:15, and then wrestling gets going with those finals. So it's going to be a big weekend here in the Southeastern region. I mean, District 1, obviously, Nate, this year, one of the best in the state, clearly with our talent. Again, seeing some of these PA Power rankings, some of the other rankings, our rankings are out. And you can see that there is a nice spread of kids, and we're going to see a real nice graphic coming up at the end here that might put together where we have this, broader group of talent spread out through the region that we have not seen in a long time, and you'll see that with our picks as well. Nate, you want to add a little bit of the, chatter from your end?
Yeah, I think just a really exciting, potential weekend. I think potentially have, I think six top five matchups in the finals if it goes, chalk. Six finals where we get two top five ranked wrestlers in the state potentially meeting. We got four number one kids in the state this as of right now: Jacob Carr, Blake Boyer, John Smith, and Dean Bechtold. And I think we have another four ranked number two. Just a lot of really high-end talent in District 1 this year. I think that bodes well for some exciting matches. It feels maybe a little top-heavy District 1. I think maybe that's a lot of that's the case, often. But when you look at some of the really high-ranked wrestlers here, obviously Double A with the Faith kids, I think there's going to be a lot of guys, in the semifinals and finals this year up in Hershey. But obviously, a lot to get through before that, and I think there's going to be some really really fun, semifinals and finals here. I think there's some good parity at some of these weights, and there's some really high octane stuff, and then there's going to be guys that we have no idea what we're talking about that come out of nowhere and bust a bracket, and I think that's the most fun of this tournament. All of a sudden, you get a Friday night quarterfinal, and you know somebody beats somebody they didn't expect, and all of a sudden that whole bracket's all kinds of crazy, and everyone's rallying in the consolation bracket. I think it's one of the most fun tournaments of the week or the season, frankly, because everybody kind of knows who everybody is at this point,
Yeah, I think it
and
woke up the forum too.
yeah,
Talking off camera about that.
the seating gone wrong for some of these weight classes, but I mean the seating doesn't matter come Friday night and Saturday. You got a wrestler who's in front of you, and the best man win. And I think that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, you got to beat the best to be the best. I mean, that's always been my saying. And some of these quarterfinal matches are really exciting, but I would really don't have a bracket buster like I usually do,
Yeah.
which is probably means there's going to be a couple of them rather than just that one that kind of might, everyone may say, yeah, that could have happened, but there's going to be some things that happen in this tournament that you never know. In some of these weight classes that are kind of not as like solid one, two, three, you might see some changes. So I think with that, Nate, why don't we just get right into the brackets here? We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're not going to go through the bracket and all our picks and kind of go through the consolation. We're just going to look at our top six. So you'll see our picks, mine and Joe's and Nate's. And we'll start here at 107, and we'll just kind of alternate until Joe jumps in. And I'll start here with my picks. They're pretty similar in here. You'll see a lot of our top three Nates are all in agreement. Obviously Jacob Carr is the guy to beat right here, right now. Schaefer Hoffman has not figured out how to beat him. Quinn Bagnell could be, that dark horse here, against Hoffman. But I really think Jacob Carr is the guy to beat, obviously ranked number one in the state. And he's the guy right now until someone beats him. I think you said that in our last show. And then you come down into this four slot. And obviously, I was saying earlier, the smart guys are here starting the show off. And we both have Walker Martin here in the four hole, which I think, is probably right. And then we have Charlie Dunbar. Joe just has it flip-flop. So I feel like we have this weight class pretty similar. Johnny Hunter is the missing link here. We're not really sure what he's capable of. He on a good weekend, he could be in this top five. And I have not seen Moon enough to say that he is deserving. But certainly we got to keep an eye on those guys as well, coming back through the wrestlebacks.
Yeah, just being in the South last week and seeing Carr and Hoffman go, obviously a really competitive match. Only 1-0 win by Carr, but Carr really kind of dictated the way things went last week. Neutral, he was taking the shots, and Hoffman had to fight him off. There was a couple scrambles that could have went either way, but that was Carr dictating the pace there. Hoffman was up top in the second period, and Carr was making moves and giving Hoffman all he could for a while until he finally got out. And then the third period, Carr was just dominant on top, getting both those legs in there, and Hoffman just had no answers for that. So 1-0, but it feels like a bigger gap than just a 1-0 gap for Hoffman to figure out. Obviously, he's going to have to find some offense from neutral, I think, because Carr has just been so dominant on the mat. And Bagnell, Council Rock South, you just never want to see a Council Rock South lightweight in the postseason because they just always seem to peak at this time. Bagnell taking the fourth seed, maybe surprised a couple people. I think a lot of people thought maybe he'd be the three seed. Not the case. So, I think he'll go out and give Carr a shot, but I think Carr, he had a quote last week. I'll kind of summarize. He said, I believe I'm great. And when I believe I'm great, I am great. So something to that, it was true. He looks like he's super confident and ready to rock and looks like the number one kid in the state, like he's ranked. Yeah, obviously, yeah, we do have a lot similar down the way. Walker Martin, really successful youth wrestler, having a great year. Obviously, won the Central last week. Charlie Dunbar, just a really scrappy kid from downtown East. Seems like he's kind of picking up the pace and matching everybody else so far. Obviously not at the same level as the Cars and the Hoffmans yet, but I think those last couple, obviously with a lot of weights, are going to be fun. Those last four slots, and I think it's going to be pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Joe would talk a little bit about the Bagnell too. I mean, this is where we have this freshman, influx here at these lightweights, and uh, we were talking off camera before, Nate, about Council Rock South. I mean, this is their moment. I mean, they build for this. They build for regionals. They build for winning a regional title, and then moving as many guys as they can, up to Hershey and then on to the medal stand. So keep an eye on that Quinn Bagnell car match if that happens. I mean, that's probably what that's going to look like up top, and Martin and Hoffman down below on my bracket. Is that how you have it?
Yeah, I think just one other guy to kind of keep an eye on. Maybe kind of goes under the radar. Shane Matthew from Pennsbury, 27-13. Obviously, a lot of wins, a decent amount of losses too, but he does have a win over Martin a couple weeks ago. I think the last weekend of the regular season, he pinned Martin in the dual meet. So, people kind of forgetting about him. Whether or not Martin, they might see each other, in the consolation bracket, and that could obviously that's not a gimme for Martin if Matthew already has a win over him. So another guy to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. This 107-pound weight class is exciting. I mean, obviously we have some of the top wrestlers in the state, so keep an eye on this one. All right, Mike, you want to jump to 114 and take a look at this one, Nate? You can kick it off, and I'll jump in.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking just a little bit of history. Obviously, Mike's website just has all the tools and all the stuff you could ever find. So, but Upper Dublin hasn't had a regional champ since 1978. Bill Marina, what were you doing in 1978, Glenn?
I was 13. I was having some fun.
All legal, I'm sure, as well. But obviously, Powell, Powell and Sagata, a little back and forth this year. Powell, dominated last week. Seems to have that momentum, and obviously, a state medalist last year. Was winning the regional final to the last seconds against Williams last year, so he's hungry to get that this year. I think he can get that done. But yeah, it'd be tough. Council Rock South lightweight, right? Another one of those guys. You just got to be careful. But if you can get out and win it on your feet, I think Powell has the advantage there. So I think he gets that done. And then Sagata isn't necessarily even a guarantee to make finals. I think McFarland from Haverford, definitely a big threat there in the semifinals if that happens. McFarland 36-1. Hasn't had the same schedule as Sagata has, but he's a very talented wrestler. Came from Malvern Prep from last year, so he's been battle tested before, so that should be a really good semifinal. I have McFarland taking third. AJ Kane, another really strong Council Rock kid, obviously from the north side. That could go either way. Fifth, I like the way Jack Cherry's wrestling this year. Obviously, pinned in the finals last week. Just seems like anybody, whatever they throw at him, he keeps overcoming. I don't think he's capable of beating anybody in the top four, but I think he gets out just because he's scrappy and he's got a good practice room. I think Kenna gets their first. I think the Kenna gets another state qualifier there, beating Christian Fosmeyer's senior from Downingtown East. But there's going to be some good battles there. Vance from Boyertown's tough. Borzio from Quakertown's another guy that kind of under the radar, 33-8 as a sophomore. I haven't seen a ton of him, so maybe I'm shortchanging him a little bit, but I think you can't count out those Quakertown kids either.
Yeah, this is a stacked weight class as well down low. Obviously, first four weight classes for us here are really good in District 1. That Dom Powell Sagata match was really exciting. Powell caught him in a Peterson with back points, was really opened up the match for him. And then the confidence just kind of took it from there for the victory for Powell. And Powell looked like he was back. I think we all talked a little bit about a different strategy for Dom in that match. And the beginning of the match kind of went just like, the first one. But Dom did not want to, see overtime and was able to open things up. And I think the confidence level for him now over Sagata is a big advantage for Dominic Powell. But this is going to be a battle. I think these guys are going to see each other again in Hershey. So either one could come up. I think you and I both have everything down the line here in agreement. And, Joe has Sagata up there. Joe kind of said, called it that Powell's probably going to win one, Scott is going to, win one. So we'll see if that is the case. Lucas McFarland, you're right, has been having a quiet, stellar year. We got to see him earlier in the year, which was great. So he is very very talented, and he will get to Hershey. It depends on what spot, but I have him third as well. And then obviously AJ Kane is going to be in this mix. Joe has him here at third, so that we both have, or excuse me, all three of us have them, wrestling in that consolation final. So I think those are your top four, and then obviously Cherry has been the one that has kind of stood out as this fifth guy. But like we both said off camera, Fossmeyer, he's kind of having a pretty good close to the season, peaking at the right time. So we'll see how that pans out. But again, we're going to be really well represented on the podium at this weight class.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, let's jump to the toughest weight class at the region here. All right, so obviously Dominic Morrison is the man to beat here in the southeastern region. We've been talking about it all year. He is, really primed to return to the state finals. So he's going to stay kind of, in that zone and focused, not take any match lightly. But this is kind of a walk in the park for him. And I know we're talking about Logan Worth. I know, Nate, you're going to talk a little bit about him. His size and kind of bumping up. Is that going to be a penalty for him at this weight class at regionals? I don't think it is. I think he's going to get out. I just don't know what spot it's going to be. I have not seen Braden Laird this year wrestle. I just feel like that experience for him at regionals is going to help him, get to the finals against Morrison. So that's why I have him in the second spot. And then it's interesting that we all have different third place finishers here. So I can't really, you're going to talk a little bit about, I'm sure, all these guys from the South, but we know Noah Smith's a good wrestler. He's another guy that's gonna get out here, and Joe has him all the way down in the sixth hole. I'm kind of shocked at that. Looks like look, Joe's jumping in. He unbelievable. You're unbelievable. Your timing is spectacular. Um, so no one can see that Joe's here.
Where we
Uh,
at, boys? Where we at?
so now we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to blow that up because I can't see the graphic anymore, because Joe's in there. But we're just talking about Noah Smith here. I have him in the three hole. You have Logan Worth, and Nate has Braden Laird. I'm just kind of going through my picks a little bit right now. We were alternating back and forth with the weights, so you can kind of jump in a little bit after that. I'll double click the window. Oh, look at that. That doesn't help me either.
Oh, there we go.
Um, so we're going on down the line here. I'm down into the fifth place spot, and I was just talking to Nate off camera about Alex Sue and how he really fought off Dominic Morrison's tech fall for about 30 seconds, gave it all he had, and he is very capable of getting out. And I have him down in the sixth hole, but I just feel like Ezra Swartley has the experience here and has wrestled really, really well. Been here all year at this weight, so I just and he's kind of obviously gone up to 27 here and there when needed for the team thing. But Ezra Swartley probably is the guy that's going to get out. But I really think this is one of the weight classes that is a little bit more wide open. After Don Morrison.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Dom, you can kind of pencil him in. After that, it's as good as anybody's guess. I think I went with Worth. He's kind of the Maurice Jones-Drew of this weight class, a little muscle hamster down there, coming up from 14. I just, Laird, a really, really tough wrestler. I just think maybe he hasn't had the schedule this year to test him as much as those South boys, and I could just kind of see, you got the first two ways. You got South kids in the semifinals. I could just see that, that whole group in the corner cheering on Worth and kind of rallying him in that semifinal to get to the finals there. Could go either way. Laird's a really good wrestler, sixth in the region last year, so I would be surprised how that goes either way. And I have not seen Swartley or Sue a lot this year at all, really this year. So again, it's kind of a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So sticking with Noah Smith, I think he's had a good year for Avon Grove. I think obviously wrestled Laird tough last week. It was nothing going to the third. So right there, I think he gets a tight win, and then obviously the Suburban One kids right behind him. But I think 2 through 6 could go at a lot of different varieties.
I guess I'll jump in. I agree. 121 beyond Morrison, like kind of what you guys alluded to is a little bit of a toss up. I gave the nod to Braden Laird making the final. He's been there before. He knows what to expect at a regional tournament. But again, it's hard to bet against Rock South guys this time of year. That's why I think Logan Worth finishes third after losing a tough bout in the semis. Swartley, I have Swartley making the semis, beating Smith in the quarters, losing to Morrison, which then puts Worth and Smith on the same side of that wrestle back, with Worth beating Smith in that consolation semis, and Sue making his way through and losing to Swartley, and then I have Sue beating Smith to get out, take that fifth place spot. That's how I have it go. Before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to Owen J. Roberts ice hockey team. I was down at Iceline all evening to watch them win the PAC championship in overtime over Perk Valley, so it's pretty cool. So shout out to those guys, a hardworking group of kids. That's why I was a little bit late, driving a car full of students home, my daughter's friends and stuff. So, here I am. But
Dad of the year, dad of the year.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'm in the running apparently.
There you go.
So,
Parent
but
team spirit.
yeah, no, it was awesome.
That
It
he
was
might
fun.
have that award for
Yeah.
OMJ.
So got some pictures of some of my students, and it was really cool to see them get over the hump and win the championship. So, um, I guess we're ready to turn the page to 127.
There we go.
Yeah, then you can kick us off here, Joe.
I'll kick us off here. We go over to 127. Got my notes out. This is an exciting weight class, and this is one we've talked about now for a while. Once Tansini went up, I know the four of us have talked extensively how to rank this weight class, what happens at the regional tournament. Things kind of went the way anticipated. I think I had Coffin beating Williams again, and Williams was having none of it. Pinning Coffin in the finals. But I think Tansini is the guy here, and it looks like Nate's in agreement with me. Maybe or maybe not for the same reason. I just think Tansini moving up is not cutting weight anymore, and I think with if this would have been my pick a week ago as well. Didn't really waver because I stuck to my guns on it. But how Williams wrestled last week has definitely put like a second guess in the back of my mind. But I still think it's Tansini's weight class to win. I think Chase Williams is the runner up. Matt Coffin's the clear third. I think they are the class of this weight class. And then beyond that, it could be any number of guys. I think the way the bracket sets up, Darren Minicozy from or Kanzi, sorry, from Sun Valley will get out along with Bowden Waite. I just think the way I have it is Waite and Kanzi have to wrestle in that consolation semifinal with Miniconzi winning, and Howell and Coffin, and I have Waite beating Howell to get that last spot.
Yeah, I'll jump in here and just talk a little bit about that Chase Williams match. Chase Williams is back. He looked great. Another Peterson. We went back to back Petersons in that those two matches with Powell, and then Williams comes out, hits a Peterson, and then catches a cradle on Coffin, just stuck him. He looked amazing offensively from the top position after getting that reversal off the bottom. So completely different match with Coffin this time. I expected that and called it. Cancini is the biggest, 27-pounder here in the southeastern region. I just think Chase Williams is back, and that's why I picked him. I mean, I know we talked last week a little bit about Tansini. I mean, Tansini can beat, four or five guys that are ranked ahead of him by PA Power right now. We were looking at that off camera as well. These two guys are going to be on the medal stand. I'm just going to go with Williams. I just feel like he got hot at the right time with this Coffin match. Kind of like Powell. Just the confidence level, is a big boost here for Williams to have that, that kind of revenge type win and do it in style with a fall. So I just feel like confidence Chase Williams against a healthy Tansini. It's going to be a war. It's going to be really, really tight. I see overtime here, maybe 1-1 going to overtime. I just see that. I'd like to see one of these guys open up and go for a takedown in the beginning of the match. But I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those ones where they fill each other out and overtime's coming. Matthew Coffin, obviously, like you said, Joe, I agree. Yeah, he's your number three guy. And then we kind of have a mixed bag down below. I do agree with you, though. It is Miniconzi and Waite, here battling for a fourth spot. And then, one of them is going to obviously be the guy down below in that fifth spot. So Sam Howell, I haven't seen him this year as much as I saw him last year, but he's very capable as well. So again, we were talking earlier, Joe, before we jumped in. There's always a bracket buster somewhere. This weight class could have one, and it could change things. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, I
Glenn,
haven't seen a.
real
Go
quick,
ahead, you go ahead.
Nate, before you jump in, Glenn, this is eerily similar last year, where Williams caught fire. It was this weekend last year. So it was hard. It was, like I said, it did become picking against them, and I'll go back to you were adamant he was the guy to beat last year at 107, and it came true. So maybe you're onto something here, or maybe it's just you're sticking to your Suburban One guy.
Well,
And
now I get to see him work out a little bit every now and then, so I kind of know what he's capable of. But I've seen Tansini. I mean, Morrison and Tansini have always had close matches. I know Tansini, is capable. It's listen, you could flip a coin here, like for the fifth and sixth spot over there down in the Central, and you don't know.
Yeah, I've not seen a lot of Chase Williams, but the matches I have seen him, he seems to be clutch, like you're saying, Joe. Last year, last second takedown against Hoffman in the quarterfinals or semifinals, I can't remember which. The last few seconds he took down Powell to get the win in the regional final. Obviously, a Peterson in the state final in overtime. So he's got that little knack of pulling them out when it means the most. And obviously, getting a win last week, putting himself in the one seed with a much easier path to the finals. That was huge. I think he definitely gets there. Tansini, I'm just going with the senior, but I think you're both right. It's going to be some fireworks there, and yeah, hopefully more than a 1-1 match. Hopefully they let loose a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of chalk through the first three, and then the Sun Valley folk are going to be upset with me here. I didn't go with Miniconzi. I know Waite just having a really good year for Boyertown. I think he takes fourth, and then the the sadist in me just wants to see a little Oxford Sun Valley for fifth place. Those fan bases, you know, best of friends for the most part. So seeing Howell and Miniconzi going for that fifth and final spot in Oxford, I just picture the senior getting it done somehow. He had the lead last week and kind of let it slip through his fingers. Miniconzi's a really tough wrestler. Obviously a gutsy win last week. I just think Howell somehow finds a way to get done. But Sun Valley, I don't hate you. I do love you. So.
BJ, he does not like Sun Valley. It is evident.
I mean, I was going to bring up tractors, but I don't think I should.
I called him cranky in the newspaper, and they all were wearing shirts last week that said cranky on the back. So I meant it in a good way. PJ knows that. So, but hey, maybe I'll get another shirt after me this week.
We are traveling to Oxford, guys, so just remember that.
Not all of us are traveling to Oxford.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm staying at Kennett Square. Is that close to Oxford? Should I
Yeah,
just stay in the Horsham area and
still
make the
about an hour
drive?
away in Kennett.
All right, I
Nice.
guess we're turning the page here.
133.
Nate, that's going to be you. Lead us
Yeah, I
off.
think I'll start it off with the one man Siegel show. I'm going Siegel, obviously the champ at the regionals last year, beating Pierce Kane's teammate Marco Loss. Obviously, he's out for the season with an injury. Yeah, it's a tough semifinal right there. Siegel and Kane. Obviously, it looks like that's kind of the final of the bracket according to us. Whoever wins that one's going to win it all. I think Siegel, coming down from 39, he looked really strong there last week. Yeah, he obviously keeps really good position, tough to score on. I know Kane's ranked higher in the state, and obviously you guys like him, and obviously the district rankings have Kane higher than Siegel, but I just maybe it's the Chisco bias in me, I don't know, but I'm going Siegel on that one, and yeah, I like Murray down low. Soto got him once this year, but Murray seems to have his number lately, so yeah, I think that'll be a really good battle, whether either if it's Siegel or Kane. I think Murray gives them a good test. Um, yeah, we're going Kane and Soto for third and fourth. I like Kane winning that one. And fifth, going a little Chesmont again. Parsons pulling something out as a senior. Last hurrah from Avon Grove over Shane Young, who's a really promising up and comer from North Penn. But I'm going to go with the senior from Avon Grove. Stealing a spot to Hershey.
All right, you want me to go, Joe? I'll go here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
so I mean, Nate and I were talking a lot before Joe, you jumped in, and we were talking about Pierce Kane. Pierce Kane's really carrying the Council Rock North band. I think I'd love to use other people's knowledge, but Nate stole it from Mike. So it's 8 straight seasons with Southeastern Region champ coming from Council Rock North. And Pierce Kane's kind of carrying the flag for Council Rock North. Marco lost out. You can kind of almost tell with his wrestling that he's feeling that Council Rock North pressure. He looks really good. He's so fundamentally sound, tough to score on, tough on top, can get a takedown when he needs it. I have seen Siegel a little bit, but not as much as I did last year. But this is a great matchup. This is a great final, or excuse me, semifinal. This is one of those ones where you hate to see those two going at it up top here in the semi. But I do have Pierce Kane. They're both seniors. I mean, this is going to be a war if in the semifinals. It's almost like a final. And then Sean Murray. I mean, he's proved that he's the next guy in this grouping. So, kind of Murray gets through, down below. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy for him because I have Soto getting into the semis, going with him, and I have Soto, here at fourth with Siegel winning the third place match. And then down below, excuse me, I flip-flopped that. I have Young there and Soto in the fifth spot. So, we're kind of mixed down here. I got Kevin McFadden in there just because. I mean, it's not just because it's Suburban One League, it's just because McFadden, has proven that he can be right there in these matches. And he's been there more than one time. So I'm kind of hoping he can get through and get out to Hershey, but it's going to be tough down. This is a consolation bracket that you do not want to be in. I mean, you want to stay up top as long as you can. And there are going to be some battles. I mean, you got Tobias, you got Wychecki, you got Parsons. So it's a war, all the way through here. It's going to be a great Friday night quarterfinals, really.
So this weight class for me, there's two matches I want to talk about. Two first round, not pigtail, two first round matchups. I think two of the better first round matchups of the tournament. Jump off the page. The McFadden Shane Young match for the right to wrestle Siegel if Siegel gets by, who I have Pedrick from Sun Valley, and then the other one is freshman on senior Johnny Mazzani the fourth. Our only wrestler in District 1 that goes by the Roman numeral, and Stephen Wachicki from Conestoga. I think that's going to be another great matchup. You got two in that first round alone that are going to be worth coming in that on Friday night. As you can see, I have Pierce Kane winning. The way the seeds fell, Kane and Siegel are the class of the weight class. It goes the winner. As Glenn, you have the winner of the whole bracket comes out of that. I think Pierce Kane is just a little bit better right now, and then Murray's the guy who comes out of the bottom. He's got Soto's number. Soto pinned him once, and he's pinned him again, and then beat him again. So, I think until we see otherwise, Murray's the guy coming out of that bottom. But it won't be easy for either. Brody Tobias is dangerous. We saw him firsthand at District Duels, and he can catch you at a moment's notice if you make a mistake. And Murray's gonna have another rematch with Chicky from Conestoga just to get to the semifinals. I think he survives that, and we see in that drop down, Siegel and Wachecki will be in that top half, and we got Young surviving that lower half of that wrestlebacks, and again wrestle Soto, and I have Soto and Siegel wrestling for third place with Siegel beating Soto, and Wachecki and Young wrestling with Wachecki, leaning on that senior experience, taking out the sophomore from North Penn, who for all intents and purposes has had a great season. That North Penn team having a little bit of a resurgence this year, and that's the five I got. So I guess we want to turn the page at 139. Mike's already got it up. We'll go. How about I start off here, and we'll go. I'm the outlier here, I just it's tough. It's always tough to pick against the Rock South kids at this weekend and next weekend. And I've been a huge Woolishin fan for his entire career, and I think he caps off his fourth Southeast region tournament with a regional title. No slight of Blake Boyer. Blake Boyer is a stud as well. I just think it's going to be an all-out battle, and I got Woolish, and I know you guys have it flip-flopped. I'm going with Nathan Misano to finish third. Again, the way the bracket falls, I think he makes the semis after beating Brock Rudy in the quarters. Loses to Boyer, he drops down. He's going to catch Declan McDowell on the way back through in that consolation semifinal, and beats him. And then in the bottom half, I have Eric Cantonacci from Plymouth Whitemarsh making the way through that wrestling Liam Diamond, who's the other semifinalist, losing to Pat Woolishin. Misano beating Diamond, and then McDowell, the senior, knocking off the senior from Plymouth Whitemarsh, Eric Catanacci. So Downtown East getting a qualifier, sneaking out in fifth place.
Yeah, Boyer, Woloshin, neither of them regional champ yet, which is almost surprising just how successful they've been in their high school careers. Boyer has been a regional finalist all 3 years. Trying not to be the Buffalo Bills of the regional finals. This week I think he's obviously moved up to the number one spot in the rankings this week with the kid from Northampton going down. Can't remember Wagner losing last week. So obviously a lot of a lot of hype there for Boyer. He's a really tough wrestler. He's got 2 wins over Woloshin last year. Obviously, Woloshin finished a spot higher than him on the podium. So that's going to be a great final there. Obviously, a takedown probably wins it. Um, like you, Masano Diamond in that third, fourth. I think Masano gets revenge after Diamond beat him last week, but that could go either way. And I got the Quakertown kid taking fifth, Gappa. I think he's a little under the radar. I think some of those last couple spots are really up in the air. Obviously, McDowell will be right there. Burns has a win over McDowell last week. So that'll be some tough sledding. I know Rudy has Rudy and Catenachi's had good years as well. So that fifth spot is up for grabs, I think, at 139.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Blake Boyer's side here, but it is tough to go against Patty Woolshin and a Council Rock South wrestler in the regional final in that black singlet. So that's going to be a battle royale here. So it'll be one you want to circle to make sure you're paying attention watching this final. And again, Blake Boyer did take over that number one spot by PA Power. So, people across the state have been paying attention. Boyer has wrestled, some big events this year and done very, very well against some of the best. So, I got Boyer here. Down in the third spot, I have Liam Diamond, just because, I mean, this might be the Boyertown guy that kind of rises up a little bit. Gets this third spot here over Masano. I know Masano is hot right now too. You got a couple of wrestlers in this weight class that are on fire. Brock Rudy is one of them. Don't count him out. He's kind of flown way below the radar with our rankers, and he's just had a tremendous season, and has tremendous strength and can wrestle a full 6 minutes with all these guys down in the consolation bracket. So I have him taking fifth over Declan McDowell, but that's going to be a pretty good matchup down there. So someone's going to be left out here that's deserving. And again, we do have a kind of, this is one of those weight classes down below where we have a big mix. So this is a good weight class to keep an eye on all day long. And if you go look at those quarterfinal matches, they're all good, no matter who you have, in there. I mean, yeah, I have Gottschall taken out, Catenacci. That's why I don't have him in there. So, don't forget about those upper perk guys.
Yeah, 5 different names in those last 2 spots. 5 out of the 6 names are different. So I think it shows the unpredictability of that weight class, and or at least down low. And but 145 maybe a little bit more predictable, at least for the finals. Glenn, you want to start us off since it's a Suburban One heavy?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to be another battle between Daniel Dennis and Quinn McBride in the finals. Right now, Daniel Dennis has McBride's number. I don't know if McBride can kind of change a strategy, approach, or just kind of let it fly attitude against Dennis to get the win. But they will, they play a little chess, and then they get going. But Daniel Dennis on top, you do not want to be underneath this guy. He is powerful on top, and he looks for back points in bunches. So you don't want to be under him, and McBride has been stuck underneath, and it's cost him. In the third spot, I have Ramos here from Sodom. Dominic Ramos has put together a really nice season as well. State qualifier last year, and he's wrestling pretty well. I have him beating Cornev, but you can't count out Council Rock South. Once they get through into the medal rounds, they're looking for team points because they want to win a regional title as a team. And we'll probably talk a little bit about that at the end. I think they're going to be tough to beat, even though Boyertown did get 13 guys through again, which is very, very impressive. And then down below, I have Fogel actually losing to McCouch, Andrew McCouch again, kind of quiet season to some, but for me, I think he's wrestling really, really well. And I think he's going to punch his ticket here in this weight class.
Yeah, I think Kornev is that guy from Council Rock South that's going to be the next guy that, you didn't necessarily hear a lot about him last year. All of a sudden, the sophomore year, he gets to Hershey and makes some noise, and all of a sudden, they got another star in the making. But yeah, the top two, Dennis and McBride. It's hard to pick against Dennis. He's just had that, a couple close wins, but McBride doesn't seem like he can figure him out. So it's, law of averages. Maybe McBride eventually gets him, but it's hard to pick against Dennis at this point. I think Ramos, obviously really, really good sophomore year at Satterton last year. I think he keeps that up, gets out again, another third place finish, and then fifth place, just going with the Boyertown senior. It's going to be hard to beat those Boyertown seniors this year, especially when it's all on the line. And I think those guys have been in some battles this year, and they're some of those guys are going to be able to cash that ticket in.
I have I have an all suburban one semifinal. Dennis and Kornev up top, Ramos and McBride on the bottom half of the bracket. I think that then with obviously Dennis winning and McBride winning and Dennis beating McBride again, I'm going to echo the same sentiment that it's hard to bet against Dennis at this point. The proof is in the body of work. McBride will have to find a way to limit limit Dennis's opportunities on top, and keep it where he wants to be on their feet. It gets interesting in the bottom half of the bracket because I have a coach losing to Ramos, so he's got to do a little bit of on the backside of the bracket. I have him coming out beating Landon Johns, beating Zaire Robinson, then losing to Daniel Kornev, and then Fogel, same thing. Fogel after dropping a match to Dennis, coming through, beating Keegan Daly, beating Nico Patakis, and then losing to Ramos again, and then Kornev beating Ramos. I just I'm not despite what Dice says on the forum, I'm not bent against a Rock South kid in a situation like that. And again, I look at the strength of schedule, who the training partners are, and for Kornev, it checks all the boxes for me. So I got Kornev beating Ramos, and then for probably for a lot of the same reasons, Nate, I'm not going to go against a Boyertown senior in his last go round with an opportunity to go to states on the line, and him beating Andrew McCoach for a lot of the same reasons. Just the experience, having been there. He's there with 13 of his 12 of his teammates. They're going to be in the hunt for that regional title. And they're going to try and pick up as many spots as possible, and this will be one where they get a guy out.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, looking at the scheduling piece, this is where McCoach is in a disadvantage with Boyertown, making it out to state duels, wrestling the schedule they have. You might be right here. I mean, if I, looked at my bracket a second time, which I never do, I go right off of the, first thing that I feel in my gut. But this is, that's going to be. So, sometimes I think we ought to actually do the fifth place matches and not the finals, because some of these matches are just like bloodbaths, and like you said, like the crowd's going to be in a frenzy for the Boyertown folks. So that's a match to keep an eye on. I can tell you that. I mean, I'm sure I'll be talking about that when the finals are going on, if
And
that's the case.
I've been high on McCoach all year,
Yeah.
but he did have a bad weekend, and if that's an indication of what we're going to see this weekend, maybe he just had a bad weekend, and that can be the difference. Like, he's every bit as talented to beat Ramos in that quarterfinals if he's on his game. Like, up until this past weekend, he's had really good results, and then he drops two matches, between losing in the going into in the semis, and then dropping out and losing to Keegan Daly from Lower Marion. Again, no disrespect there. You're allowed to have bad weekends, but maybe this is the season catching up with him. I don't know, but like I said, he's every bit as he has the ability to win that and make the semifinals. I don't think he can beat Quinn McBride, but I think he's in the realm that he can beat Dominic Ramos if he's on his game.
Yeah, I was talking to Tony Rigas on my ride home tonight. Former teammate of mine, Joe Rigas' brother's going in the Hall of Fame. Um, and he was saying, once you get to regionals, I mean, you're a top guy in the region. I mean, you're one step away from going to Hershey, and you're kind of the best of the best. These are the top guns, and this is going to be a battle down below. Some of these consolation finals, excuse me, even the not the finals, just the entire consolation brackets down below are just it's a grinder. I mean, it's one, two, three, four. You could have 5 matches down there. That's a long day. You can't have a bad weekend, Joe. You can't have a bad match or a bad weekend, or you're in big trouble down below. So keep an eye on those guys that are hot, and those guys that had bad weekends last week. And if they're not on fire, in their first match, they're in trouble. Because everybody's hungry now. Everybody's hungry, and those guys that are healthy, and like you said, the schedule, the workouts, that whole like community, wrestling community behind you. I mean, all those things matter now. So that could be the difference with Vogel and McCoach. But I think we're going to see some really really good matches. This is going to be one of those big battles for fifth place.
All right, let's turn the page to 152. A lot of uniformity here at this weight class, and I'll start things off here. I think it's Luke Knox and Jaffe are I want to say a class of their own, because Kevin Mallon with the drop down to 52 really inserts his name into it. But I think those three are in at a level above everyone else in this weight class, and I just think Luke Knox is just on an absolute mission this year, and looking to become a state champ. Jaffe will have something to say about that when it's all said and done Saturday night. However, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Knox. I got Kevin Mallon wrestling back for third if we're losing the semis to Jaffe, which I think will be one of the more entertaining semifinal matches, because I think Mallon's going to strap it up and go. Again, Mallon's got great partners. Mallon's got coaching. He's got everything he needs there at CB West to be successful. And again, Jaffe has all those things as well. So it's really a war of attrition between the two of them, and who can limit the points going on the scoreboard. Kind of the guy excited to see in this weight class is Chase LaMotta. He's quietly had a really nice sophomore year. He's a part of that youth movement at that those three young guys, the horses they have at Great Valley between LaMotta and the Kosmowskis, and they're all 1, 2, 3 and 145, 52, and 60. I think Chase LaMotta is the next best guy. I see Glenn going with Baldessari from Ruston, so we're all in agreement that it's going to be a Chessmont guy in that fourth place spot. I then have Colton Jones at coming out from CB East. I have him losing to Malin again, as they lost in the finals at the North tournament, and then he's gonna catch Baldessari, Carter Stouch, and then lose to LaMotta in that Conci semi, but beat Christian Ortman. And I think Ortman, again, one of those Rock South guys, is just the bracket falls well for him. I think he wins that pigtail match. He gets Jaffe in the second round, but when he drops down, he gets Noah Robinson from Phoenixville. He's on the pack. Back-to-back pack opponents, gets Roman Forbes, dispels Roman Forbes. Then he sees Malik Kelly, who had a nice North tournament last week. But I'm going to go in the rematch. I'm going to go with Ortman over Kelly. And then he catches Malin in that Conci semi and drops down. But Jones will be too much for him in that Conci that fifth place match. So I have Ortman taking sixth, with Colton Jones finishing fifth, getting out for the CB East Patriots.
Yeah, I think Knox, if Tansini doesn't win it, Knox could be the first Perk Valley champ at regional since 2013. Jaffe quietly, trying to be a four-time placer for Kennett. Obviously Boyer gets a lot of the headlines, but Jaffe's been super solid, about to win his 150th career match too. So I think that'll be a good final. I think he gets over Malin. I like Malin for third place. And then, like you said, Chesmont, obviously I have a lot of interest in that, but, you're talking about Lamada, he obviously a really good season, but, kind of a tough draw against Baldassare in the first round. Lamada pinned him at Chesmont at the beginning of the season. Baldassare beat him by decision during the regular season at the dual meet. So, congrats, Lamada. You get the 3 seed, but you get a kid that, is 50-50, 50-50 with. And obviously, Baldassare had a tough tournament last weekend, but he's got a chance to redeem himself right off the bat. I think the winner there could make the semifinals even, but he dropped down there, and obviously Tim is having a really good short season. Missed most of it with an injury, but he's 15-1. I think him and Baldassare could meet again potentially, or Lamada, depending on who wins or loses that one. And then obviously another either Lamada or Baldassare will be in the consolation semifinal potentially. So there's gonna be a lot of Chesmont on Chesmont crime down low. I think Lamada got a little momentum. We'll see if he can capitalize on that, but it's gonna be some tough sledding against some older kids as well. After that, Kelly I haven't seen a ton of. Obviously, a pretty good weekend last week. He's gonna be a tough out, but Adam Tim's wrestling tough. I know he's kind of under the radar. Westchester East kid didn't wrestle in the postseason last year, but 2 tight wins against Baldassare. Probably his best wins, but I think he's gonna be in the mix.
Yeah, obviously 1, 2, 3 here is pretty. We're all in agreement. Luke Knox is looking to win a state title. I'm sure Zach Jaffe is as well. I just think Knox, is the better guy here right now. And Mallon, you're right, Joe, with the drop down makes him the third best guy in this weight class. And then I think it does get a little muddy down here, down below. I mean, based on looking at everyone's bracket, we have a little bit different. I am not counting out Baldessari at all here. I have him in the fourth spot, getting out. And like, Nate just mentioned, them meeting in the early rounds here is huge. I mean, the winner of that puts himself in a good position. So that's why I have Baldessari then. And the way my bracket falls, then I have Roman Forbes here. I'm not sleeping on any Springport guys that are in this tournament. I won't do it. I've come up against them in the past in this spot, and I just feel like Roman Forbes, may be able to pull off. He might be the dark horse here to get out. And you got to put one of those guys in here somewhere in this spot, and I got Roman Forbes over Lamada. So we'll see down below. It looks like this is one of those weight classes that we all have a little bit different down through our wrestle backs. And I really think that's how it's going to be. I mean, we're kind of all in agreement saying that there are going to be some differences down below here, but the top three, we agree. So this is going to be another, battle of some really good wrestlers. Someone's going to be left out here, and that's disappointing. But that's the way it goes. We're at regionals now.
All right, let's go to 160. Who wants to kick it off
Yeah, I'll
here?
start off with a little Oxford love. John
There we
Smith,
go.
#1 kid in the state, been there for a little while now. The favorite to win this one. He's had a little bad luck in the regionals the last couple of years. He made the finals both years, but freshman pulled a hammy. Last year, even worse luck. He got a guy named Colin Guy in the finals. Did not go well, but obviously, fourth place in the state last year. John Smith is the guy to beat here. I think that could be a fun final against O'Brien. I mean, two guys that like to mix it up. I think there's gonna be some fireworks. Both guys can score in bunches. So I'm hoping for some excitement there. I got Heiser taking third, obviously dropping down to 160. Seemed like he meshed pretty well there last week. Very motivated and talented kid. I think he's the third best kid in the weight class. Yeah, fourth spot. We got 3 different kids there. And it kind of comes down to Kosmowski against McDowell in the quarterfinals up top. I got Kosmowski winning a close one there, but it could go either way. I think both of them get out. It'll be interesting to kind of see how Kosmowski's progressed. He obviously had a tough one last week against Heiser. Hasn't had the toughest schedule, but I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he can get out. And the last one, Logan Fissner, he's the wild card here. I think seniors from Quakertown. They just don't seem very easy to beat. They're tough kids. I think he's got a shot to even make it to the consolation final. But I have him taking six behind McDowell. I think McDowell, you know, just getting it done for Downtown East and making sure they punch their ticket to Hershey.
Yeah, obviously, Joe's big on Logan Fissner. I don't have Fissner on the board here. I mean, obviously, John Smith, Johnny O'Brien are the 1-2 here. John Smith, number one in the state, pretty much in my mind all season long, regardless who was there. So, that's going to be a great final, though. Nate's always looking for the fireworks match. It's going to end up being one of those, you know, ones that are
Well,
just
those
going
kids
to
will
be.
shoot, man. They're not going to stand
Yeah,
around and patty
yeah,
cake.
you're right, and they are fiery too. They're both fights. I'm sure there's no love lost between O'Brien and Smith too, so they're going to go at it. I do have Heiser here in third, just experience alone for him. Getting back to Hershey, and then I got Cade McDowell here based on what happens up top there. I have McDowell, beating Mosky, which changes my bracket down below a little bit, but I have Kozmowski getting out in that fifth spot over Ryan Rossiter just because of the way Rossiter falls down below and takes care of business to get himself into that position. But it could be Fissner down there, depending on what happens. And again, I think this is one of those weight classes you look and you start to see a couple different guys in there. You know that we're all thinking the same thing that there are going to be some changes. Then just kind of looking at the bracket and going, no, this guy's going to beat that guy. You just can't do that anymore. But this is a good weight class, for us with O'Brien and John Smith. I mean, these are two guys that'll probably be on the podium in Hershey.
Yeah, I agree. This weight class, in my opinion, is going to yield two really good quarterfinal matches as well that I'm going to mention. I think the Caden McDowell, Bo Kosmalski quarterfinal is going to be a flat out battle. Um, and it's super important. I mean, I have both guys making, end up wrestling for fifth place, but and a rematch. I have Kosmowski winning both of them, and the other one being Heiser and Fissner in the top half of the bottom bracket of the quarterfinals. And I have Smith, Kosmowski, Heiser, and O'Brien in the semis. Obviously, with Smith beating O'Brien, but where it gets interesting is in those wrestlebacks, huge wrestlebacks in that Conci quarterfinals is going to be Ryan Rossiter, senior from Interboro, and Logan Fissner. Again, I'm going with the Quakertown guy. These guys have been here before. Fissner was there through the run of the great teams that Quakertown has had, including this year. He knows how to win. He's seen what it looks like to win. He's been watching guys ahead of him, and now it's his time to shine. I got him beating Rossiter there, and then beating Kosmalski. And then I have him beating Heiser in a rematch from earlier in the tournament. On the bottom half, McDowell coming out of off that loss, Kosmowski getting his way through, seeing Heiser on the in the Conci semis, Heiser getting the best of him, and then Kosmowski beating McDowell, and like I said, Fissner beating Heisner in a rematch. Just to see, I think they're gonna feel each other out in that quarterfinal between Heisner and Fissner, and I think it's gonna go back and forth. I think they wrestle twice, and if Fissner wins on Friday, then Heiser wins and it flip flops. They flip flop on in the consolation final. They see each other again. I don't think one of them beats the other one twice in one weekend. So, all right, let's turn the page. Let's get this 172.
Now I'll jump in here with Chris Dennis. I mean, I'm surprised Nate's going against Hostetter here, but obviously Chris Dennis has been the number 2 ranked guy in the state by PA Power all season long.
Nate does not like Oxford.
Oh, see that Sun Valley? I love Sun Valley. Love Sun Valley.
But Chris Dennis again, he is a force to reckon with. But we know we have Hostetter and Corp here. They've been battling. This is a great weight class for District 1 here, heading to Hershey. You got 3 guys that could very well, be on the podium. and very high on the podium. So I am going to stick with Chris Dennis here. Again, I'm really impressed with what Central Bucks West is doing with their program, turning into a mini Council Rock South with their head coach kind of, with that next man up attitude. I think they're kind of working out a little bit different than they used to there at Central Bucks West, and obviously their team success and individual success is really, been there over the last 4 years. And Chris Dennis has been the one that kind of set the tone. So I'm not betting against him. Hostetter, I have, taken care of Corp again. But again, these guys have battled. And Dennis is going to have Corp this time in the semifinals, so Hostetter's not going to get to see him this time around. Ryan Solomon has been great. I have him getting out in the fifth spot from Abington, and Jack Hayes obviously is in here for all of us, getting out too. I have him taken fourth, and then I have Joel Jones, kind of, in that, spot, in that last spot at sixth. Jones kind of just fallen back a little bit, in this race. I mean, these are horses here at 172 pounds here in this region. So yeah, everyone's going to have to be on their game, all weekend long at this weight class because there's no easy outs. I'm looking at my semifinals: Hostetter, Hayes, Dennis, and Corp. And Solomon's in there. Hayes has to get by Solomon, so that's a big quarterfinal matchup that we're going to see on Friday night.
Yeah, I'll go next. I think where my bracket differs from everyone else's is I have Solomon beating Hayes on Friday in that quarterfinal. Again, one of those great quarterfinal matches, that will be awaiting to happen on Friday. But I think Dennis is the class of this weight class. Hostetler makes the final after beating Solomon. Corp and Dennis is going to be an entertaining match. I just think Dennis is a little bit better. But this is a weight class I'm going to go on record now saying, and it's no surprise that we're going to get 3 state medals here as long as they can avoid each other. As long as they all can stay in the winner's bracket as long as humanly possible. When they get to Hershey, stay away from one another. Where it gets interesting is Jones when he loses to Dennis. He comes through and he hits Solomon in that consolation quarterfinals. I'm going to go Solomon here. This is Solomon's you've been in this situation before, and then on the bottom half, Hayes losing in the quarterfinals puts him in that in the wrestlebacks a little bit early. He beats Logan Oaks. He beats Bostwick, and then he hits Corp in the consolation semifinals, loses to Corp, and then you have Hayes and Jones, and you got Jack Hayes with the experience, and I think this is where schedule catches up with Joel Jones, and he just misses out on making to states this year.
Yeah, selfishly, after being at the South last week and seeing Hostetter and Corp go in one of the better sectional finals I've ever seen, I'd love to see them, go at it again this week. Dennis is just so tough, man. Every position, he's just really, really, really good. This is the only weight class with 3 returning state medalists. Like Joe said, I think 3 more hopefully coming next week, but. Yeah, Dennis and Corp. I mean, that's one of the best semifinals I think of the tournament. I can't imagine Corp is in a very good mood after dropping that decision to Hostetter in the final seconds last week. Corp's going to be super motivated. I think one of these days he's gonna get that win against one of these really really high ranked kids, and I don't know if it's going to be this weekend. Yeah, I think Dennis might have the edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if Corp finally gets that done. And if he gets a chance to see Hostetter in the finals, more fireworks coming there. But either way, one of the best finals we're gonna get of this tournament: Hostetter against Dennis, or Hostetter against Corp. I got Dennis just being a little bit better than both of them. Um, in the consolation bracket, yeah, I got basically the same Hayes, and I got Jones coming out 5th place. Upper Marion's been 21 years since they've had a state medalist. Somehow Jones gets it done this week. Someone's got to end that drought. But I think there's one guy to keep an eye on, kind of a bracket buster type. Academy Parks, Mahmoud Kamara. I saw him last week. Big physical kid. could surprise some people in that consolation bracket if they don't have their minds right. So, but yeah, 172 definitely going to be one of those brackets you got to keep an eye on, semifinals, finals, because it's going to be a dandy, and kind of leads right into another one at 189 with two highly ranked kids.
Yeah, I agree with Kamara down there in my bracket too, because it all comes down to that, that Hayes Solomon match that Joe mentioned. So, keep an eye on Kamara there too, because my bracket could quickly change, and Kamara could be that guy if that's the case down below. Because I have Kamara and Jones going at it down below to get into that consolation semifinal, and I have Jones winning, but that could be Kamara if things are a little bit different. So again, this is we're starting to get into the big boys now, and these guys really are fireworks.
Yeah, I think last week I picked Spielman to beat Latour just because I thought Spielman, the law of averages, Spielman was going to get him, and Latour won another one. He's had his number for I think four in a row now. Could it be five? I mean, Spielman, one of the best wrestlers in the state to have a losing streak like that to just one other kid. But I
Joe
mean,
and
I
I are
can't.
saying it's going to change in this one.
I don't know. Yeah, I just
Law,
I
law of
think you're
averages.
law of averages. You guys are going that way. I'm going Franco. Interborough getting it done. But like a lot of those other ones, this is kind of a coin toss final. Um, a lot of parity, down low as well. Griffin obviously got knocked off last week by OJR's Michael Godry. I think in the consolation rounds, I think he benefits from that 1 minute first period, and I think he he's good on his feet. He gets the takedowns against Richards to take third. Obviously Godry wrestling really tough. I got him getting out. And obviously, setting himself up last week with a better seed. Going against another Quakertown upperclassman or junior, I guess. But I got Godry sneaking one out and getting Owen J. Three big boys in a row to Hershey.
Yeah, interesting enough here, Nate and I have everything kind of the same after the first place bout, but I just feel like Spielman is going to get it done. I don't know why. I just feel like it's his time. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to be a great final. I'm looking forward to this one. And then you have Joe has David Clayton up in here, and Nate and I have him down a little bit lower. I guess that's based on our some of our earlier matchups there in
Joe loves
down.
these Quakertown kids this year,
Yeah, he
man.
does. He does. But I got Tamir Griffin here. I just feel like, he even, wrestling a little bit below, his top level. He's still the third place guy here. Mason Richards, though, is powerful. And that'll be a good matchup here in this consolation final, Mason Richards and Tamir Griffin. But I got Griffin winning there. And then I have Godry keeping it going and getting the states. I mean, he had a great year at the beginning of the year. He had a, good part of the middle of the season, and he's just peaking right now. So I've been impressed with Godry since I saw him at the, beginning of the year, saw him at District Duels, and I could tell right at District Duels that he had something going. And I think he's going to take it all the way to Hershey. And Clayton's unfortunately going to be the man left out. I mean, he's been the best guy in the SOL, all season long, but I just feel like, he's not going to make it. And Laramore's dangerous too. So, one change up here in some of these earlier matches changes some things down below. I don't go through all my bracket because if I went through everything, you'd be like, "Oh my God, what is this guy looking at?" But I think I got it right.
Very confident assertion there. This was a really tough one for me.
Yeah, it
Beyond
was.
the first two, beyond the first two, like I'm in the camp. I really like Lattori. I've watched him. Like I think we talked about in the preview. I forget where we talked about it. Like last year regionals. I mean, no disrespect to Michael Spielman, he handled Spielman, and I think we all saw Spielman was wrestling hurt last year down the stretch, and the fact that he turns around a week later and he makes it back to the podium tells you how tough the kid is. And Lattori didn't make the podium, so then you begs the question like, what's the thing? what changed. Spielman, for all intents and purposes, healthy now, as healthy as can be, right? Everyone's nicked up, banged up at this time this season. I just think it's Spielman's time. I think he gets over the hump. He shatters the glass ceiling, and he takes out Latore and puts himself in a good spot to finish as high as possible next week in Hershey and get his third state medal before heading off to Harvard. Latore I have second. Third, I like Clayton. I didn't realize I was so Quakertown heavy. Maybe just blinding because I'm looking at
Did you move to Quakertown?
I did not. No,
Okay.
I'm still a resident of northern Chester County, and the again Clayton's been there. He's part of that program. He's been winning a lot of big matches. So where I probably have it different from you guys, my quarterfinals are Latore and Larimore, Godry and Richards, Clayton and Griffin, and Marzulli and Spielman. That I have Clayton being Griffin. I was real high on Griffin. I went on last week and said that I felt he was in a class of his own in that North tournament or Central tournament, and Godry beat him. Maybe Godry has the blueprint in how to beat him. Wearing him down and keeping Griffin from getting to his offense. He grinded out a 3-1 win. The match that is again, there's a lot of exciting quarterfinals here. You got two more. You have the Godry Richards match is going to be a battle. Richards was the beneficiary of counter offense on Godry. Godry got into a bunch of shots, and was able. Richards was able to turn it into counter offense and points. And that Clayton Griffin match is going to be another good one. And I think this was tough. I thought if Godry gets by Richards, Godry gets out. But I think on the way back through, Godry got to wrestle Larimore, and I think Larimore has had the best of them this year. It's tough for me to make that decision because Godry's one of my guys. I had the opportunity to coach him. I see him every day in school. I have him in class. Just great kid, great family. But he's gotta make that level change and find a way to get by him. But I know he's going to come out guns blazing into senior year. But on the way back through, I got Griffin in the wrestling back, beating Salvatierra to get to the Conci semifinals, where it was a rematch of Richards and Griffin from early in the year, where Griffin was the victor. I think like a 15-6 match, something to that effect. Almost major decision. I'm probably not 100%. I'm maybe not 100% accurate on that. I think Richards gets the best of them there, and then Larimore and Clayton. I have Clayton being Larimore. But to your point, Glenn, Larimore is 41-11. He's wrestled 52 matches this year. Again, 52 matches in Boyertown schedule. He's 141 of those matches. I think that consolation semifinal match is going to be outstanding. I think Clayton wins and Clayton beats Richards, and then Griffin beats Larimore to get out. That's how I have it. I guess we're going 215. I'll go first here if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
This one is this is the match, one of the most anticipated matches I think of the season. It's going to happen here. We almost saw it at District Duels, but when the match was in hand, O&J opted to rest Decker.
Deckard wanted to go, by the way.
He wanted to go. He was 2 feet on the mat, and
we were right there.
D-Ref backed him off. Coach DeRaffalo backed him off. Again, everyone's nicked up, everyone's banged up, and I think that had something to do with it. But Paxton Hunt, I mean, they're ranked 4th and 5th in the state. These are two guys that are as long as they're healthy, they're gonna medal. Paxton Hunt, one heck of an athlete, great football player. Decker Bechtel, great wrestler. So it's gonna be a battle of wills in that final, but I think Decker Bechtel wins it. Paxton Hunt, and then there's these two guys, Hunt and Bechtold are kind of 1A 1B, and then right below him, like Sawyer Ermagiotti is just having like a phenomenal season. He's 38-3. He's just a junior. This is going to be his Decker Bechtold and his and Ermagiotti will be next year. Will be the two guys going at it in this weight class. So I have Caleb Duman of Boyertown getting through. and Faribault taking fifth and beating Wyatt Holdren for fifth place in this weight class.
Yeah, I'm obviously not going to go bet against Bechtel. We've learned that in the past. I am hoping for, a really good final here. Paxton Hunt, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Really good football player, heading to Franklin and Marshall to play football next year. One of those kind of kids. Last year I saw him lose a match to Brandon Carr, who was obviously a state runner-up, and Hunt lost that match and looked like his dog just died. This is the kind of kid that expects to win no matter who he wrestles. I don't think he's going to be intimidated by Bechtold. I know he was just as upset about that match not happening at District Duels. Uh, I'm not picking Hunt, but I really think that this is going to be a battle. I'm hoping it's a battle because I think it's just two really good athletes just going at it, and I think it should be some good cinema. Down low, similar to you guys, fair ball, Duman, coin toss there. I think I think Fairball, just gets finds a way to get it done. He wrestled really tough last week, won a couple close matches. I think he, just somehow pulls out another close match in that Conti semifinal against Duman and takes fourth ultimately. And yeah, obviously Duman, wrestling back and getting Holdren from Avon Grove in that final match. But yeah, Duman, 41 wins, like you said. He's another one of those kids that, some good partners up top. I think he's gonna be just a little too tough to beat for Holdren.
Yeah, I mean, this Decker Bechtold Paxton Hunt match is, obviously been a long time coming. So this is going to be a good one. Two really, solid athletes. We just mentioned Bechtold, solid wrestler, and Hunt, both a wrestler and a football player. I mean, this is going to be a battle royale. Um, I can't bet against the Bechtolds ever again. I'm going to go with Decker Bechtold here. Sawyer Ermagiotti is just on fire. I mean, he just gets better every match, which is really impressive. And like Joe, you said, I mean, in the coming years, this is a kid that's going to be high on the stand. This is a weight class right now where we might have, three guys right here. These cut that one, two, three on the medal stand. Again, they have to avoid each other at Hershey too and stay in that championship bracket as long as they can. But that's your top three. I mean, I have Powerball here, taking fourth, with Dooman in the fifth spot. But it could be the other way around, based on some of the wrestlebacks. I just feel like there's going to be some sort of, change in the bracket here. Not a bracket buster, but we really haven't, talked about big bracket busters. But I just somewhere in my heart, I feel for Norristown here that Victor LeBron's going to get a chance, to get in a spot to get himself, an opportunity to get to Hershey. So that's why I got him in the sixth spot, down below, beating Holdren in the wrestlebacks before the get into the Conci semi. So that's why I have LeBron down there.
I don't know. I mean, you look at the bracket buster last year, Rami Ayub from Coatesville kind of came out of nowhere, made it to states. Having a little tougher senior season, but you can't count him out. I think he'll find a way to stay in the mix. It's just, can he beat Duman or can he beat, some of those guys on the bottom half, Faraball. So, but he's one of those guys. He did it before last year, so you can't count him out this year.
For sure. All right,
All
let's
right.
move to the big boys. I'm starting this one off, Joe.
Of course you are.
All right, Dean Bechtold's going to win a regional title. We know that. All right,
I'm glad we
Matthew.
got that out of the way.
All right,
Fourth
yeah.
one.
Unfortunately for Robbie Rose, he's going to probably meet him in the semifinals. But every guy after Bechtold, I mean, is going to have to battle here to get a chance to wrestle Bechtold in the finals. But I do have Matthew Scott down below here, advancing to the finals, and obviously Bechtold taking care of business. And Robbie Rose is going to have to wrestle back, to capture third here. I think he can do it based on the way I have my bracket up top with him beating Williams in the quarterfinals. There's some big matches here early and often in the heavyweights because of the South. I mean, the South has a ton of guys that can be the guy that gets out. But I do have Rose facing McKinney in the consolation finals, and Rose winning that match. Rose is wrestling really well. Justin Williams in fifth. You cannot rule out Kappa from Central Bucks West here, or Nathan Staub from Abington. He's dangerous. I have not seen Warnaby or Coons, so I can't really speak to them. But I know that even Waybright. I mean, any of these guys at any given time. I don't want to say you can trip and fall and pin a guy at heavyweight, but those days are over. I mean, but it can happen where you can get in a bad position and get decked, and that will change this bracket down below, and it could change it up top as well. So keep an eye on the big men. Don't leave the gym. I think we have three medalists and Hershey, in this weight class as well. I've been saying that all year, not just because it's a Happer Horsham guy either, because you look down there, you have Jace McKinney, Williams is wrestling well. So we have guys here at heavyweight that are going to add to our medal count. I think, Mike, if you can help me out before the end of the show, I know that we're going to have to do pretty well here to match our all-time medal count, which went back a little bit further than I thought in the past 2 years. But this heavyweight class is solid here in the region.
Nate, I'm just going to go next. This is Dean Bechtold is the guy to beat here. He's done it. He's been here before. He's done it before. He's done it 3 times before. Returning state champ. He's my teaching assistant every second period. Just an all around great kid. I mean, I can go on about like the type of person he is, but I'm not going to bore anyone. If anyone wants to know what type of person he is, feel free to ask me. He is a great human being who
Well, you can just read Nate's article later.
You could do that. You could do that, but I mean, I can go further, tell you about the type of human being he is, and he just happens to be just an awesome wrestler as well. And we're lucky to have him in District 1. And I will say this before I go any further in my bracket, like Robert Rose is, and I'm sure Glenn's going to love to hear this, is positioning himself to be one of the, a contender for a state title next year for the Hatters. Just because the way the weight class goes, like there's a lot very top heavy. I think Robbie Rose is a state medalist this year. I'm going to say that, and I think he sets himself up to be a potential state champ as a senior. Just the way he's wrestling, like watching him wrestle, he goes out and grinds. But this is not his year in District 1. Matt Scott and Dean Bechtold are just a little bit better than he is right now. And Robbie Rose is going to be on the podium in Hershey next week and really high up on the podium next year. I have Bechtold beating Rose in the semis and Scott beating McKinney. Then I have Rose beating Coons in the Conzi semis, McKinney beating Kappa, and I'm sorry, beating Williams, and Rose winning, taking third, and then Justin Williams taking fifth, and Coons taking sixth. Nolan Coons is setting himself up. He'll be one of the top heavyweights that'll challenge Rose next year. He's just a sophomore, so his time is coming. The future's bright for him. But it's just some of these seniors got to clear out of the way first. Your Matt Scotts, your Jace McKinney's, your Justin Williams, your Dean Bechtolds are just a little bit too tough and in front of them. And even some of the guys that are going to be in the mix on Saturday, your Jeff Kappa, these guys are all seniors. But you make one mistake and you're going to find yourself, on the outside looking in, in a moment's notice, especially with the big guys. The way matches and the way momentum swings in these matches.
Yeah, like you're saying, 13 seniors in this bracket out of 18. So, if you're one of the underclassmen, just trying to survive this year and set yourself up for next year for a little run with a lot of these guys gone. Bechtold obviously just an animal going to be the first 4-time regional champ at Owen J. Roberts if he pulls that off this week, and I believe he will. He's teched or pinned everybody this year that he's wrestled, and most of them don't even get out of the first period. So, and if you're at all interested in what that family pays for groceries, just read my story. You'll blow your own mind with that one. But yeah, it's interesting. We all picked the same top 5 at a weight class like this. It's often very unpredictable. Um, I'm not sure that it stays this way, but I mean, on paper, it looks good. Oxford's Jace McKinney, I think he's one to watch just wrestling at home. I think I've seen those McKinneys win a lot of big matches at Oxford, at home with the home crowd behind them. I think they're a little bit different wrestlers at home, so he's one to watch. Obviously Scott has a win over him this year. Um, Also, Waybright beat McKinney a couple weeks ago in a dual meet, and Waybright, the sixth seed coming out of the South, but he gets McKinney in that first round. That could be interesting if that wasn't a fluke. If Waybright, actually, knows how to beat him and does it again, that could just throw the whole bracket into disarray. But we'll see how that works. I think Justin Williams wrestling really tough. Just can't beat those big guys in front of him. But I think he stays in the mix and gets it done. Grady Wartnaby, obviously, it seems like there's been a Wartnaby for Chichester for the last 15 years. I'm not sure how many there are, but he's right there in the mix as well. It was a really good tournament last weekend. So yeah, Bechtold, I think he's going to win.
I think Mike's got some graphics here that we can look at and kind of talk a bit, some overall parity here, but just want to go back to 29 medals are the all-time AAA record, District 1 in 2005, and then in 2024 we had 25 and 24 last year. Um, so pretty impressive medal count the last couple of years. I'd like to see us break that record and get 30. So let's take a look at these guys that actually these teams where they're coming from, and you can see that.
You guys were giving me a hard time about Quakertown. They're not. There's two guys. There's two guys.
But you had them up high though, Clayton and Fissner, which is nothing wrong with that. But
That's funny. Well, to look at Council Rock South, we all agreement there was 6. And again, we talked about numbers in the last show, and it's the reason they're going to win another regional title. Boyertown bringing 13 again. I have 4. Joe and Nate have 5. So Boyertown's going to be in contention. Obviously, Owen J. Roberts is going to be in contention. Obviously, with the Bechtolds alone, with potential 2 champions there. Central Bucks West with 3 for me and for Joe and for Nate, and 2 of them could be champs. So that's where you're going to get some big points with champions. When you start adding up champions, those are big points. But the wrestlebacks, those third place finishers and fifth place finishers pick up a lot of points as well. And then you can see there's a lot of teams with 3 qualifiers here, and you normally don't see this. I mean, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams deep in my category, and 7 for Joe and Nate. So it's impressive.
Guys, we went to Haverford one time, and Glenn's got 3 guys going to the States now. Coincidence?
No.
He liked that snack bar there. They had
we should have went to Conestoga. I mean, what can I tell you? So listen, Nate and I were talking about it. It could happen. It could happen. It could happen.
Anything can happen this weekend, and you are 100% correct. It could happen for Haverford, and it was no slight of what they've done this year. They're in a good run right now. Coach Jones and company done a phenomenal job and building that program back up. So yes, it can happen. I'm just giving Glenn a hard time. He was really high on being at and back down there at Haverford.
Yeah, their snack stand was pretty good. I'm gonna be honest with you. We had 5 state champions on the AAA side last year. Mike was helping me out on the chat here. I don't know if we can do that again. That's a pretty impressive feat. But I think we're going to be close. I really do. I think we're going to be 4, maybe 5 state champs coming out of the region. And again, it just shows you that District 1, we've kind of evened the playing field with District 11 and the Whippeal and all these other teams out west. So I'm feeling pretty good about the region going in, and people aren't paying attention to our we ought to go to a live podcast every night, but that's just a whole nother story. But I mean, if people aren't paying attention to our show and not paying attention to PAWrestling.com and the statistics and what's happening here in District 1 in the last decade, I mean, we are a force to be reckoned with.
Well, on the Glenn, I'm putting you in the spot. Who do you got look in the crystal ball, look to next week. How many champs are we getting?
I'm going to say 4.
What weights?
107.
107, 121, 127,
That's 3.
285.
4.
I
What
got to
about
find another.
160?
John Smith.
160.
John Smith. There it is. We're going to do it.
Who's the winner at 127? You got Tansini winning or Williams winning again?
Doesn't matter. One or the
All
other.
right.
I got Williams repeating.
Okay.
What about at 72? We're gonna be in the mix.
Yeah, I
again,
just
This is
said
tough,
John
man.
Smith. I mean, listen, it's doable. It's doable to tie it. It really is. I mean,
you're gonna be in the mix.
I
At
mean,
52
what
with
about
Luke
Blake
Knox.
Boyer? What about Blake Boyer? I mean, we could
Yeah.
do it. We can do this.
We have
I
4
mean-
ranked number 1 and 4 ranked number 2 right now.
Yeah,
PA
we
Power,
can
so
do this. We can do this. We can break the record.
Let's get 8.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. I'm
Yeah,
in. I'm in.
Make sure everyone's to Hershey Lodge.
Speaking of long shots, though, Joe, I know you had Ortman from the pigtails all the way to 6th. Glenn, did you have any pigtail survivors make it all the way to the blood round?
Yeah, I had
think if
Nathan
I had to pick
I had
one-
Nate, no, Staub didn't. 285. I didn't have Staub. I don't know. Nate's
I think if I had to pick one, I
you're
would
always
pick Scotty
you-
Lamplaw from Garnet Valley. I think he wrestled really tough last week. Give him the best shot to maybe make it to that blood round. But I like the Ortman pick, Joe.
Yeah, no,
Probably
that's
it.
the one.
It just thank you, Nate. It's just a hunch. Today I was in the room at O&J. I was talking with Coach Brilla, Mike Brilla, Larry Mazzarelli, Brett Wade, and it was either Larry or Brett turned to me and said, "You would know this," and said, "Has there ever been a 6th place guy, pigtail guy, at regionals?" Because Larry and Brett were both reminiscing when it was an 8-man bracket. Has there ever been a 6th place guy that has made the states? And I said there's one that it was a 5th place finisher who made it to the podium, not a 6th placer from the district tournament. Trivia question, Nate, who was it?
I think you're talking about Edwards, who was 6th in the region and 5th at states. Is that who you're
Correct.
talking about?
Yes, that is correct. So not
You can't
exactly
get
the
that
same
by.
thing.
You tried to get that by Nate.
I knew he was going to get it.
Well,
It was
didn't
a
Rob-
softball for him.
Didn't Rob D'Annunzio come in as a really low seed to regionals? He made it all the way to the state bracket, to the state podium as well. I can't remember his story. Some kid from Methacton. It might have been. I think it was him.
But Caleb Edwards, and if memory serves me correct,
Kevin Edwards.
sorry. Memory serves me correct. Didn't he get into the 5th place match by forfeit?
Yeah, somebody broke, or I think it was the Pottstown kid got hurt.
And so, we weren't sure if it was by injury or by, hey, I'm not going to make it to states. I'm not wrestling. So I wasn't sure about that. And then ends up making it all the way to the podium. Just a tremendous story. And it was one where we just took that little trip down memory lane. A great trivia question for
So
District
real
1.
quick, Joe. 2011, Rob D'Annunzio took 5th in the district, and then he ended up taking 5th at states. 3rd in the region, 5th at states.
Do you have to bring the bracket up? I'd love to know who he lost to at districts that year.
Let's see here. 3, 4. I think that's the regional.
Mike's gonna have
But
to.
he lost to Stefanino and Rodriguez from Wissahickon at regionals or at
One of the
districts.
Stefanino one of the twins?
Dylan Stefanino.
Okay.
And then the Rodriguez kid from Wissahickon, who was tough. And then at regionals, he beat Palmer, beat Vin, he lost to McQuiston, beat Hennessy from Springford. He tech-falled Rodriguez in the rematch. And then he beat Flans from LaSalle, and then he beat Dylan Stefanino for that last spot, the consolation finals. So he stepped it up that week from 5th to 3rd, and then 5th in the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got to keep an eye on that. Those pigtail if guy gets out. We got to keep an eye on that this weekend, Mike.
All right, we're going to go to our last slide here. Mike's going to throw it up and say qualifiers by section. Look at that. I'm like honorary Suburban 1 tonight, Glenn.
Man, you love the Chesmont, man. You
first-
love the Chesmont.
Yeah, but I think the key here really is state qualifiers by section. If you look, we're pretty good here with the Central and the North and the South. I mean, this is good representation from all three. And there's a lot of talk about this has to be a 2-day tournament for the sections. There's lots of talk about going back to 4. There's even talk about going to 2. But if you look at this year, I mean, if we stick with 3, it makes perfect sense. I mean, the way the geographic line has been drawn, we try to put power and geography together. I think this year, it's proven right. I'm not giving all the credit to Mike because we years and years and years to try to figure this out. So I think we stick with 3 sections here in District 1. But I think we got to go to a 2-day tournament. I think having somebody coming back and wrestling on Sunday and weighing in again when everyone else doesn't have to weigh in, it's just not fair. The coin toss doesn't work either. But we got to look at that. But this is really, really good breakdown here. And if you look on the other side with region champs, obviously the North I think is the stronger of the 3. Just based on Joe and I alone. But again, it's good. It's good separation here. It's good balance, and wrestling in District 1 is tough. I mean, if we were doing this on the girls' side, I mean, we'd see the same thing. And you see District 1 is going to be pretty good on the AA side, on the boys' side at states, and the girls' side. So District 1 is here, and we're not going anywhere. We're just getting better.
So, Glenn and Nate, the wave a magic wand, and how would you do postseason? Would you just keep it 3? Would you go 4? Go down to 2?
I'd go to 3 with the 2-day, Friday, Saturday, section. That's how I feel right now. I mean, I always hear about the availability for the gyms and all that stuff, and I get that. So we're just going to stick with the 3. I think that's the way it's going to be. But we got to go to 2 days. I don't know if it's going to happen now.
Yeah, it's tough because there's only, a handful of kids that had to come back, all
Yeah, but there are 8
middleweights. So
matches though. 8
I
matches.
know. That's what I'm saying. It's tricky to make everyone have to weigh in twice, or just a handful of kids weigh in twice. But I think 3 is better than 4. Just make it more competitive, make it a little bit more of a grind. I think when we had the 4 sections, or whatever you call them, it was just some of the finals were just pretty blah. I think it's better to have better competition going through, and that kind of gets you ready for Hershey a little better.
Yeah, the reality was there was a section that was watered down. I mean, we were there a couple times. I mean, it was.
Yeah, somehow. I mean,
I mean,
not your
you
fault.
can't
Somehow
deny it.
Hapro ended up in the South.
Yeah, you can't
That's how,
deny
and
it.
it was just like it wasn't even geographical or anything like that.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean, I'm gonna
be.
be honest. PW and us, PW and Happy Horseman were very happy. We were not, we were happy to be separated from Council Rocks and the Penn Ridges and the Quaker Towns. I mean, we were happy, but it really didn't work. It didn't work. I think 3 is good. I really think we got a good balance. We kept the leagues together, which I think is important to a lot of programs. And Solderton is one of those teams that's out, and PW is out, and but it's just the way it goes in SOL. And same thing, I know Nate, you have your concerns. And listen, there's athletic directors and principals that are bitching and moaning about that too. It's not just coaches and wrestlers. It's ADs and principals too that don't like that separation. So if you stick to 3, you keep it together better than you do 4. Because once you do 4, you got big mix, big mix.
I would be in favor of 2 district tournaments. Not
Ooh.
sure how you split it up.
Old
Um,
school Joe Youngblood.
and keep the 18-man bracket at regionals and do nine top 9.
I'm fine with that too.
Top nine.
I'll be honest with you.
Top 9.
I love the North and the South. I
Well,
love
I
that
don't think the
battle.
North and the South right now. The North and the South wouldn't be a great
All right, what are you going to call it? The East and the West?
Well, it's
East and the
thought
West.
the
Will be,
ancient
How
East and the
about
Ram
West
had,
will
or
how
be.
whatever his
about
name is.
Patriot Colonial or something? I mean,
If you go East and West, you can keep the pack, the Chessmont, maybe a few Central League teams, and then
Imagine
the
just
East.
piling around that mat to watch the 9th, 10th blood round. That'd be something.
It'd be great.
it'd be like a junior tournament, like the
You lose the
midget
first
tournament.
match, you got to win 20 matches to take 9th.
It'd be great. Pure cinema.
Hey, listen, we go 6 mats down at Oxford. I'm in.
Hey,
Right.
come on down, baby.
I'll stay.
Yeah.
You know what? I might move to Oxford, start growing mushrooms out there in Kennett Square.
There you go. Go down to Woody's. Some crab cakes.
Oh yeah, they got a good golf course out there too.
So, well, guys, for those that are wondering at home, it is 12:08 a.m. on Thursday morning. We got a late start. Everyone had some stuff going on. That's why I was late. I think it's time to call it a night.
Oh yeah.
I
Glad.
think I want to go back and redo some picks. I want to pick a couple more Sun Valley kids. I think I was a little short
here's
on
what
the
we're
North.
allowed to do. You're allowed to do this. One bracket.
That's good.
You get
No,
to
I'm just
change
joking.
one bracket
Nope.
for Friday night. No, we're sticking to it. All right, I'm
Yeah.
bringing. Listen, I'm bringing these with me, Nate. We're gonna be like
I'm burning
talking to-
mine, baby. I'm burning mine.
I'll have mine with me and my computer, and I'll be following. First time in the 20 years I've been in Southeast PA in my professional career that I will miss regional. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be weird. I talked to Marcus Johnson today. We were talking. He's going to step in and be on the broadcast Saturday night in a full-time capacity. I'm excited to get some updates, but I will be with my daughter at the U19 National Tournament for Indoor Field Hockey in Richmond. So I leave tomorrow, and it's gonna be weird, but I'll see everyone in Hershey. I'll be there on Saturday in Hershey.
We'll get Shane Hughes on there too as well.
Okay.
To
Good.
help us out with the broadcast for the finals. So it'll be good. We'll miss you, Joe. Nate, I'll see you there. I'll see you guys.
Be ready to rock, baby.
Yep. I always say regionals is my favorite weekend of the season. I see my whole wrestling family. But I'll be living vicariously through text and updates of what's going on.
All right, we'll take care of you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks again to Mike Leister for all he does here at PAWrestling.com. And, it's not just District 1, it's every district throughout the state.
We kept Mike way up past his bedtime.
He had to take off tomorrow anyway, so he's fine.
Yeah, I think he snuck away for a nap or two throughout the recording.
I thought he was just eating his dinner earlier. All right, well, good night, everyone.
All right, take care. We'll see you all.
See you guys.